Carl, welcome to this week's edition of In the Dugout. We'll start off with a few questions from the fans as always. The first one is, who owns the broadcast rights to the highlights of our games?
To the highlights or to any...
the coverage of our games.
The RFL own League One rights. Obviously we've all seen Toronto's done a deal with Premier Sports, which as a club we benefit commercially from that. We also benefit from our partners whenever we appear live on a Sky or on a Premier. So there is that's written into the contracts of a few of our partners, so we benefit that way. But the League One rights are owned by the RFL, which we get paid a distribution. Some monies from our distribution we get every year through that. So hopefully that's answered that as good as I can. And I hope that's what they wanted to know. I'm not too sure where we're going with it.
Another question here about the club's social media. Would you like to explain the club's media plan for this season?
Oh, listen, I think it's little building steps. We're trying to put things in place. I think it was mentioned at the fans panel meeting. I let them know that we wanted to be more consistent with our messages. So the dugout was being put on sometimes on a Thursday, sometimes on a Friday, sometimes on a Saturday. That sort of stuff. We know now 5 o'clock I think on a Friday that's on. We do have a media plan, a pre-planned 3 days before a game and a 3 days after a game where we want to go, and we need to get that right before we start adding and doing all the luxury things like your Twitters and your Instagrams and all that. I think it's very important that we get consistent and very good at our own media plan and getting stuff on regarding the games, and that we do encourage, and we did say at the meeting we wanted everyone to go through the club website to get news and look for news, which also helps us commercially in the long run. So if we can get better on that sort of stuff and be consistent on that stuff, and it's worth people looking at the website for that stuff, good. And then we'll move to the next phase of trying to add all the luxury stuff. And we're getting there. We are getting there. And it's not easy with the resources we have as a group. When we're servicing all of Club Doncaster, and it's not just something that Donny Rugby League is trying to achieve here. It's the whole of the Club Doncaster that we're trying to make an overall better social media and media marketing strategy, which for us is good.
Do you think the fans can help with the social media? Maybe retweeting, favouriting tweets, just so they get expanded a little bit more and more people see the tweets?
100%. Listen, I'm no social media guru, but I've had a go on this Twitter. I think it's a great tool myself, and it's probably one of the only things that and the Instagram that I use. I don't have a Facebook or anything like that, but the Twitter for me is good for getting some very, very quick messages out there, and it's something that fans can probably do. There's a bloke on there, Keel, I think his name is. You'd think he worked for the club, the amount of stuff he puts on for us, and by the way, mate, we're grateful for that. That's brilliant. So if the others want to start, it's just a chain reaction. When we're playing games, and we've got a big game coming up in a few weeks against Toronto, well, let's start tweeting and talking about that now, but not all of us, the club, the fans, everyone. Let's get it going. Final
one from the fans then. Is there any chance of us playing at Castle Park this season when the pitch is relayed?
No, really disappointed there. I liked it. I thought it worked when we went there. I tried last year. I've tried again this year, and unfortunately the Castle Park can't accommodate us with the pitch. It's a lot of wear and tear on their pitch, and as we have pitch works being done here, they're having some pitch works done there, and as much as they'd like to try and have us there, unfortunately they can't. So I'm pretty sure that option's gone. We have the option over here, which I'm more than happy with, and as long as games are in Donny, I'm not bothered. We've got a Challenge Cup game that we were asked to reverse the fixture, can't be played on the main pitch. we're playing it on pitch too. For me, I'd play it in the car park as long as it's in Donny happy. You know, when you're playing in Challenge Cup, I said it last week, the best you can get is someone in your league, and the next best is somebody at home. Well, we're now at home, so you know we'll take that and we'll hopefully move on.
Moving on then, the first league win on the board last week, a good win against Coventry. Just your thoughts on that?
Oh, listen, you know, we won by 20 points. Let's not get wrong. It was a win, and the positive you can take out of that game is the defence. I thought Myton and Coventry, we've had in 160 minutes of rugby, we've had 2 tries get against us from kicks, you know, and kicks that have been, you know, the one on the weekend it ricocheted off loads of players, ended up in the winger's hand try. So the amount of ball we coughed up, and Coventry coughed it up. Conditions probably suited them more than us. They're a real big team. They kept coming at us, but both teams dropped the ball. Scrappy game. So to get a 20-point win we should be great. You know, you would have thought we'd lost that game the way everyone's carrying on. You know what I mean? It's a couple of years ago we won one game all year. We've just won a game by 20 points. You know, we've got to take that. And that, you know, if you speak to any of the players, by all accounts, I'm like the fans. I was like, you know, gee, we thought we would have won by a bit more. The boys couldn't feel their hands. They ran. I thought they had pizzas in the change room after, because I saw them. They've never ran off the field like they did, and they're all running off. By all accounts, they all went in the showers with their boots on, their kit on, and everything, and just stood there for 10 minutes to try and thaw out. So you got to take your hat off to the players for going through all that, and you know, and getting a win, 20-point win. We'll take it if we win it. If we win all these games all year by 20, I'm sure no one will moan. But you know, let's cut the boys a bit of slack. We won the game, and what do we want in here? We wanted to win every game by 50.
I think I spoke to Gary after the game, and he said the conditions probably made it a bit more of a leveller for Coventry coming here. We were the favourites to win on a sunny day, a dry day. We maybe would have won by more points. So to win by 20 in pouring rain, when you're not going to be playing a fashionable style of rugby, but like I say, to get the win by 20 points is a good start and just sets us on a good path. It
does, and listen, anyone who was here knows what the conditions were like, what the field was like. No, why we're making excuses? We won by 20 points, so I'm alright with that. You know, Coventry give us a good game. I would have rather had a good, tough, physical game like that than won by 50. You know, you've got to these challenging games. You'd rather them, mate. I don't know. It's well, when we go and win, you know, by 50, 60, somebody still won't be happy. We should have won by 70. So, but then if we go and win the game by a certain game by 2 points, well, we're going to win the league. So let's just be grateful for the win, and we'll see what it's like when the condition. But we don't need to make excuses for winning by 20 points.
Brad England signed for the club, being announced today. What sort of attributes will he bring? We've seen him obviously for a game last year. He got injured, unfortunate with that. Now he's back to full fitness. What sort of benefits will he bring to the club?
Oh, he's tough. He'll certainly add, you know, competition for places in the back row. He's a real tough boy, and he's a competitor. He's, you know, he gets stuck in. He gives it all. Wears his heart on his sleeve. So, you know, we've got some competition for places, and he's another one that'll just add to that. But you know, he's been rewarded for that, for his hard work over his injuries, and you know, he's a fully fledged Donny player now. So it's up to him now to try and replace someone or take someone's shirt off them.
Moving on, then, you mentioned earlier, you touched on the Challenge Cup tie being moved. We were supposed to make the trip to Gloucester. Now we'll be facing the Mirror on pitch 2 at the Keep Mill. Although it's not on the main track here, how significant is that we're going to be playing them at home? Gary's mentioned time after time we want to make this place a fortress, so for us to get them down here, it's a chance to get through to the next round and put on a good performance.
Listen, I've got to give Gloucester a bit of respect here. They, you know, fair play to them. They were concerned for both clubs. They had a game down there the other week that wasn't well supported from the fans down there. Apparently when the weather's not too good they don't get it, but back in when it's nice and sunny they get quite a good following. So, you know, that Patrick there was immense. He just rang and says what were the chances of reversing the fixture, and you know, we had a look at it, what was available to us, and pitch 2 was available, and we grabbed it. You know, fair play to them for wanting to reverse it. This is Challenge Cup, and this is where clubs like ours and Gloucester and that can, you know, hoping to go through and get a dream tie against a big Super League club, and you know, it's good on them for doing that. And you know, we won't take them lightly. If that's a certainty, we need to progress, and they do. So it'll be a tough game. And you know, if you have a look at their scores of late, they've done well.
Finally, then, a trip to Wales awaits at the weekend. A big test, but a good chance to go there and pick up back-to-back victories. Yeah,
very mixed bag, North Wales, and I've seen an interview with their coach this week, and he's wanting a performance out of them. He's wanting a reaction from the Keighley game. You know, if we don't go with the right attitude, again, I'll say it every week, we don't go with the right attitude and we don't prepare right, we'll get beat. They went to York and they bet York at York. We all know York's a decent side. So, and then they've had a couple of, you know, poor results in the last couple. He's openly said that he's wanting a reaction from them this week. They've recruited this week in the forward pack. So, if you're a rugby player and you've had a couple of bad defeats and you're desperate to put that right, you're a dangerous team. So we need to make sure that we're fully on the money and that we again go with a strong side, and let's see if we can hopefully get a dry track and the sun's out and see what we can do.
Thanks, Carl.
Cheers.